So now we're going to do the chain rule, but with the general functions, okay? So use the correct notation. This is super important. They give you all these values, and it can be really confusing. On your homework, I'm going to give you the answers so you can help match it up. All right, so let's look at number 10. So we have a function inside and a power on the outside, okay? So that's how I know this is going to start off as a chain rule. So our derivative on the outside is a power. So we bring the 3 down. The inside stays the same. And then we subtract 1. Okay? Then we have to multiply by the derivative of the inside. What's nice is these are going to be a lot quicker as long as you have the right notation. All right, so let's use the values that are given. So and all of these, oh yeah, it says find h prime of 2. I was looking for it. So h prime of 2 says, okay, we want 3, and I'll write this out once, f of 2, because you could probably substitute without rewriting this step, and I am fine with that, I promise. So when I go to substitute, we keep the 3. F of 2 is negative 3, and f prime of 2 is 6. So what do we get? We're going to multiply 3 times 9 times 6. I don't know, 54 times 3. Use a calculator, 12,162. And there we go. All right, let's try the next one. We have 2 functions being subtracted, so we can do their derivatives separately, except for this squared. So that's how we know it's a chain rule. The squared is on the outside, and this is on the inside. So h prime starts with the power rule. The 2, I'm going to write f minus g. I'm okay with that. It's always going to be of x. Subtract 1. Now, to do the derivative of the inside, we've got the derivative of f minus the derivative of g. And it's always at x equals 2. So we've got 2. What's f of 2? Is negative 3 minus g of 2 is 3. And then f prime of 2 is 6 minus g prime of 2 is negative 2. So I get 2 times negative 6 times 8. So negative 48 times 2 is negative 96. All right, let's try this one. So h, we're going to rewrite this as the 1/2. Those are being multiplied, so we can start with our derivative, which on the outside is a power. So 1/2, this inside stays the same, and we subtract 1. And then the derivative of the inside, I'm going to have to write this to the side. Well, the 4 times the derivative of g. The derivative of negative x is negative 1, and then the derivative of 1 is 0, so I don't even write that. All right, so h prime of 2 is 1/2. You have some choices here. I'll just leave that negative power. 4 times g of 2 is 3, minus x is 2. Remember, that is our x value. And then we've got 4, g prime of 2 is negative 2, and then minus 1. So a lot to clean up. We get 1/2. What is that? 12 minus 2 is 10, minus 1 is 9, to the negative 1/2. And then I've got 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, minus 1 is negative 9. Well, remember, the 1/2 means to take the square root, so the square root of 9 is 3, and the negative means to flip it. So I've got 1/2 times 1/3 times negative 9. So 3 goes into there 3 times. I get negative 3 over 2. All right. Let's try this. So this one is composition. This is inside, this is outside. So to start with our derivative, we start by taking the derivative of this outside function, which is f prime. The inside stays the same. Okay, it's not a power rule, so we don't subtract 1. Then I have to multiply it by the derivative of that inside, which is g prime. Okay, so now I'm going to write my 2's here because it gets a little tricky. So h prime of 2 is f prime of g of 2 times g prime of 2. Okay, now as a review, with composition, you have to do this first. Okay, so g of 2, let's look up here, g of 2 is 3. So that's 3. So really, this is f prime of 3. Okay, that's why they give you those other values. G prime of 2, let's look up. G prime of 2 is negative 2. That's a times. All right, so now I need to figure out what's f prime of 3. So f prime of 3 is 4. See, they weren't just like being too sneaky. So negative 8. Okay, that is a review on compositions. It's tricky, but that's what it is. All right, same idea, but different values. G is on the outside, F is on the inside. So we're going to start by taking the derivative of G. Its inside stays the same. And then the derivative of the inside, which is F prime. So same thing, I'm going to write the 2's because it can get just super tricky. Okay, so remember, we have to do this inside first. So f of 2 is negative 3. So this is really g prime of negative 3. F prime of 2 is 6. So g prime of negative 3 is negative 1 times 6. There we go. All right, this is like a negative 1 if you want to think of it that way. It's just being multiplied. So this is on the outside and this is on the inside. So our derivative, we start by taking the derivative of f. The inside stays the same. I'm going to write it like this to help. And then the derivative of the inside is negative 1 times f prime of x. Okay? So let's do that. So h prime of 2, f prime of negative 1 times f of 2 times negative 1 times f prime of 2. So we need to do this first. So f of 2 is negative 3. Oops. So negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Negative 1 times f prime of 2 is 6. So f prime of 3 is 4 times negative 1 times 6, which is negative 24. Okay. All right. So you give yours a go and see how you do.